The night sky would not warn us with poetry or prophecy, only with a growing terror that swallows every calm thought. The moon, once a gentle guardian of tides and dreams, would begin to swell in the heavens, no longer distant and silent but enormous, vast, unstoppable. Telescopes would shatter expectations, satellites would scream alarms, and within hours the world would realize that gravity itself had chosen a brutal ending for civilization. Streets would fill with people staring upward, not in wonder, but in disbelief, as the familiar face of the moon transforms into a colossal weapon racing toward home. Oceans would feel the change before human minds fully could. Entire seas would rise into towering walls of water pulled by the moon's raging gravitational grip, dragging coastlines inward, ripping ships from harbors, and drowning cities long before the actual collision. Earth's crust would tremble as tectonic plates grind and crack under unnatural pressure, releasing earthquakes that race across continents like cracking thunder beneath our feet. Volcanoes, awakened by the shifting of planetary boats, would begin to roar, turning peaceful horizons into fiery battlegrounds. As the moon grows larger than mountains in the sky, the atmosphere itself would begin to unravel. Hurricanes would merge into planetary-scale storms, winds screaming at speeds no structure could survive, lifting forests, tearing apart skyscrapers, and scattering the remains of civilization like fragile paper. Communication networks would collapse, not from impact, but from chaos, power failure, and desperation. The final messages sent across the world would not be of strategy or science, but of love, regret, and prayer whispered into dying signals. In the last moments before impact, gravity would betray everything we understand about stability. People would struggle to stand as the ground tilts and heaves, while objects begin to float, then crash, then lift again in violent rhythm. The sky would darken as dust and ocean spray choke the air, turning daylight into an unnatural twilight. Birds would fall from the sky, animals would scatter in blind panic, and humanity would realize that no shelter, no bunker, no technology can hide from a planetary collision. When the moon finally strikes, the energy released would dwarf every nuclear weapon ever created, not as an explosion alone but as a wound tearing through the planet's very structure. A global shockwave would race around Earth faster than sound, flattening everything in its path, ripping mountains apart, and igniting wildfires across entire hemispheres. The impact zone would vaporize instantly, turning solid rock into plasma, hurling molten debris into space and back onto the surface like a storm of fire. Earth would not remain whole after such violence. Massive chunks of crust would be blasted into orbit, while deep fractures opened pathways to the planet's molten heart. Magma oceans would spill across continents, erasing borders, landmarks, and history in rivers of glowing destruction. The sky would rain burning fragments for days, turning surviving lands into scorched wastelands where nothing recognizable remains standing. The atmosphere would thicken with ash, dust, and poisonous gases, blocking sunlight and plunging the planet into a sudden artificial night. Temperatures would crash, not from cold winds, but from the absence of light, creating a frozen shadow world beneath layers of choking clouds. Photosynthesis would collapse, crops would die, and the food chain would unravel faster than any extinction event in recorded history. Even creatures that escaped the initial blast would face starvation in a world without seasons, without sunlight, without balance. Oceans, once the cradle of life, would become boiling graveyards. The impact would heat vast regions of water into steam, altering ocean currents and killing marine ecosystems in a matter of hours. Coral reefs would dissolve, plankton would vanish, and the collapse of marine life would erase one of Earth's greatest life support systems. The planet would no longer be blue, but scarred, grey, and hostile. Even Earth's rotation could be thrown into chaos. Days might stretch or shrink unpredictably, seasons could disappear, and the planet's axis might tilt wildly, rewriting climate patterns forever. Magnetic fields could weaken or distort, exposing the surface to lethal cosmic radiation. The shield that once protected life would crack, leaving survivors vulnerable to space itself. In this broken world, survival would not mean rebuilding cities, but clinging to existence in underground shadows. Humanity, if any remained, would be scattered, isolated, and stripped of technology. Knowledge would fade as power systems fail and digital records vanish. Stories, not science, would become the final archives of what once was a thriving civilization that reached for the stars but could not outrun gravity. Over centuries, Earth might begin to heal, but it would be a different planet. New continents could rise, new oceans could form, and unfamiliar ecosystems might slowly emerge from the ruins. Evolution would start again, experimenting with life in strange and unfamiliar ways. The creatures that follow humanity would never know skyscrapers, satellites, or songs written for the moon that once lit the night. From the silence of space, Earth would no longer appear as a calm, living jewel, but as a wounded world drifting through darkness. The moon, once a companion, would become part of Earth's scars, fused into its destiny as a reminder that even cosmic neighbors can become instruments of extinction. The balance that once shaped tides and calendars would be gone, replaced by a new, violent stability. This catastrophe would not only erase cities, nations, and species, but also erase memory itself. Art, language, love stories, and dreams would vanish without witnesses to preserve them. The universe would not mourn, and time would not pause. Planets collide, stars explode, and galaxies drift apart without meaning.
Yet within this terrifying vision lies a quiet truth about our present moment. The same moon that could destroy us also shapes our tides, stabilizes our climate, and guards Earth from wandering debris. Catastrophe and protection share the same cosmic forces, and existence survives by delicate balances we rarely notice. The sky above us is not just beautiful, it is powerful, unpredictable, and deeply connected to every heartbeat below it. And so when we look at the moon tonight, peaceful and distant, we are not just gazing at a symbol of romance or mystery, but at a reminder of how fragile and miraculous our survival truly is. Life on Earth continues not because disaster is impossible, but because for now, the universe allows harmony instead of collision. In that fragile pause between chaos and calm, humanity still has time to dream, to build, and to wonder before the heavens ever decide otherwise. In the distant future of this shattered Earth, silence would become the loudest sound. No engines, no cities, no human voices carried by the wind, only the slow grinding of reshaped mountains and the whisper of poisoned seas. Storms would roam freely across empty continents, sculpting ruins into dust, while strange skies glow with unfamiliar colors from altered atmospheres. The planet would still turn, faithful to cosmic rhythm, even when no one remains to measure time or name the days. Deep beneath fractured ground, isolated pockets of life might still flicker, clinging to warmth near volcanic vents or hidden oceans below frozen crust. These survivors would adapt to darkness, pressure, and toxic air, evolving into forms that no longer resemble their ancestors. Eyes may vanish, limbs may change, and senses unknown to us could emerge, proving that life does not surrender easily, even when worlds are torn apart. From destruction, evolution would quietly begin its patient work again. Far beyond Earth, distant civilizations, if any exist, might one day detect strange debris fields where a vibrant world once thrived. Scattered rocks carrying traces of oceans, carbon, and shattered continents would drift through space as silent evidence that life once bloomed and vanished here. To them, Earth would not be a tragedy, but a scientific mystery, another reminder that planets can shift from paradise to ruin in cosmic moments. Over millions of years, gravity would slowly reshape the wreckage into new harmony. Fragments could gather into rings or even form new moons, circling a planet that no longer remembers its past. Tides might return in unfamiliar patterns, pulling alien seas across reborn shores. The cycle of formation and destruction would continue, proving that endings in the universe are often just beginnings wearing darker faces. If someday intelligent beings rise again from Earth's altered ecosystems, their myths would speak of fire falling from the sky and oceans boiling into clouds. They would find strange fossils of metal, concrete, and glass buried in ancient layers, unable to imagine the civilizations that shaped them. Humanity would become a legend written in stone, a ghost chapter in planetary history, long forgotten by the stars. This imagined catastrophe reminds us that our planet is not isolated from the cosmos, but stitched into a vast, restless universe where forces beyond imagination quietly shape destiny. The moon, asteroids, radiation, and gravity are not distant fantasies but active players in Earth's story. Survival is not guaranteed by progress alone, but by understanding, preparation, and respect for the sky that watches over us. So while this vision of collision belongs to nightmare and fiction, it carries a message meant for waking minds. Our world is precious not because it is eternal, but because it is temporary and rare. Every sunrise, every tide, every breath exists within a fragile balance that could change in ways we cannot yet predict. And in that fragile miracle, humanity's greatest power is not fear of the end, but the courage to protect, explore, and